The biggest lesson I have about being an entrepreneur is persistence. You have to have that ongoing will to drive past the blocks in your way. My name is Abi Ferrin, and I'm a fashion designer based in Dallas, Texas. I grew up in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I think it shaped everything about me, from my work ethic. We had horses to feed, we had chores. There's just these fundamental principles of that lifestyle. I started sewing when I was 5 years old. It's a family tradition that's been passed down for generations. When I was 13, I entered the National McCall Sewing Contest. I won my age division. It's funny, fashion was not on my radar at all. That didn't come actually until years later when I moved to Los Angeles. And it was at this time I started getting invited to parties, and I started making my own clothes. So I had my sewing machine, and I wasn't starting my business as a designer yet. So I was wearing one of my new dresses. Dana Devon from Extra came up to me and said, "Where did you get that dress?" And it just came out of my mouth that I was a designer. She said, "Great, here's my card. I want to wear that tomorrow night." Never mind the fact that I had raced and had it dry cleaned. It was featured in Style magazine as the look of the week, and I immediately thought, wow, this is it, I've arrived. And that was also the same time that I met a man who was the perfect Hollywood boyfriend. He had the car, he had the Harvard degree. He convinced me to move with him to San Francisco. He had been doing a steady barrage of undermining my relationship with my family, convincing me this little farm girl didn't know anything, and my dreams of being a designer weren't really realistic. It was like overnight he changed, and suddenly I felt like I was trapped. He has spent all my money, maxed out my credit cards. It was finally like he said that thing and I just snapped. It's like something broke in him and he attacked me and held a gun to my head. That was the beginning of the worst 6 months of my life. So my dad tried to convince me to move back to Wyoming. I was like, I'm not giving up, and I have a dream, I'm gonna do it. Packed up my U-Haul, moved to LA with $500 in a sewing machine. I was really trying to, even just meet the minimums on these huge credit card bills. I called my cousin in Dallas and said, I don't know how to run a business. I don't know what I'm doing. She said, just come visit me. So I came here to Dallas, and I just fell in love with this city. I felt this entrepreneurial mixture of successful business and energy with the principles of the country that I had grown up with. And it was amazing to see that melded into a city. So perfect. We were at Willie Nelson's 4th of July barbecue, and I turned to my cousin and I was like, I'm moving to Texas. I felt like I had found my home. So Stanley Korshak and the Dallas Fashion Incubator sponsored a contest called Texas Next Top Designer. To win that contest really was a game changer in my life and my business. As a company, we really take great pride in the fact that the people who make our clothes are all seen as humans. A social entrepreneur is someone who doesn't just think about the bottom line and the profit, but is also very aware of the impact that their business is having on society. We work with 2 organizations in Cambodia and Nepal, Saksam and Purna, people who have committed their lives to helping women and men who are rescued out of sex trafficking and bonded slavery. We created a program where they make our buttons. Every single garment gets sold with their story sewn onto the hang tag. I may only be selling 1 button at a time, but every month they know they're going to get a reorder of some sort. Because it turns out social entrepreneurism is embraced by a lot of consumers. They love the authenticity of it. We've watched girls who have come from really desperate situations who are now guiding their families into a new way of life. For me, it's just such a deep-rooted passion because I know what it feels like to have had that taken away. What I love about Dallas is the support that you do get. And I do think our fashion community of talented designers is growing, and I'm really proud of them and proud to be a part of the community that we're building here together. I think failure is defined in different ways by people. Things that didn't go the way you planned are lessons about how not to do it next time. You take all those tools that you've gained in that failure, turn it into an amazing positive experience that will continue to grow your business. I feel like my legacy in the fashion world will be to have been the pioneer who really made companies think about social entrepreneurship and who's making their clothes. And I really hope that Dallas can spark that across the country because it's a life-changing thing.